This Cyprus Grey Chevy 2500 you're seeing, it's proof that the right color on the right platform changes everything. And I'm about to show you what the Stage 1 touring vehicle platform should look like. I'm Dean Bleasnart, the co-founder of Big Dog Builds. With over 850 builds now through the workshop, I did get that one confirmed upstairs. We are Australia's #1 American truck workshop for good reason. The team continue to grow, and just remember, if you're interstate and you're looking at getting a build done through our workshop, we can help get the vehicle, bring it into the workshop, get the whole build done, fly you in, get a handover and drive that vehicle home. If that's still too hard, we can help transport the vehicle back into state, straight to your front door. Chevy 2500s, do they confuse you a little bit? Do you think you should be in a Ram? Our new buyer's kit is ready to download, and inside that buyer's kit, it'll answer all of the questions you may have if you're in the market for a new truck. Even if you've owned an American truck before, download the buyer's kit, read up on the latest regulations, NB1 talk, NB2 talk, and which platform will best suit your needs. Every family, every situation's different, and getting into the right vehicle platform to start with is going to save you thousands of dollars down the track if you build the wrong one. This vehicle behind me definitely hasn't been built the wrong way. A touring vehicle started with the essentials done right, and this thing here is ready to tackle the roads, throw the van on the back, and get around Australia in comfort. We'll start at the front of this vehicle, we'll run through absolutely everything, and we'll explain what can be done at a later stage, whether that be stage 2, 3, or 4. And if you wanted to rip the tub off at some point, put a canopy on the back, the touring vehicle platform should start like this. Every good touring platform starts with a good blackout, or in this case, the Chevrolet sticker on the rear tailgate. That one was done at the dealership before it came into the workshop, but just remember, if you're wanting to customize the vehicle, whether that be Prospect tail light tint, debadge the rear tailgate, add the stickers to the tailgate, absolutely everything when it comes to chrome deletes, custom color coding, painting, we can help out with that whole setup as well. Does that affect how you're going to tour in the vehicle? Absolutely not. But who doesn't want a good looking truck while you are traveling around Australia? Rear end of the setup, it is quite simple. We've got the manual inflation air valves down here for the 2 airbags, which are in the rear. Because we've gone for a 3-inch BDS suspension kit, we utilize a triple-bellow Boss airbag kit. So if you're wanting to plug a little air compressor onto these 2 little Schrader valves here, pump those airbags up manually. This vehicle also has Air IQ, which means the customer can do it from inside the cab. We'll grab out the remote control and show you that one when we get up the front. But at the rear end here, factory tow bar assembly from GMSV, the 12-pin plug from GMSV, that's all standard straight from the dealership. And then we've added a red Anderson plug and a grey Anderson plug to the rear here as well. The grey Anderson plug is only going to be live while the vehicle's running, so that one will only charge your Caravan while you are driving. Then the red Anderson plug is direct fed to the underbonnet battery. That one, some Caravans need for electronic stability control, unlock the brakes in some cases. Some Caravans utilize the red Anderson plug for different features. And once our team knows your Caravan, the setup, we can make sure that all of the electronics at the rear end of the vehicle, you're going to talk to the Caravan, charge things, do everything as intended. The other good feature with the red Anderson plug is you can plug in a solar blanket or even an AC charger. If you've got an AC charger that plugs into your 240 volt wall socket at home, pop a little red Anderson plug on the outlet or that one there, plug it in, and that's going to trickle charge the batteries under the bonnet without having to pop the bonnet at all. So that's the rear end here, the Chevy 2500 setup, the gloss black bumper. It came in already with the real truck electric tonneau cover on the rear end. Again, if you haven't opted for this one through the dealerships, we've got multiple different tonneau covers that we can include, whether that be electric, whether that be manual, hard rolling tonneau covers, you name it, we've got plenty of different options there as well. And everything else in the back here is stock standard. You can see plenty of room in there. The 35-inch tyre is now tucked up underneath the vehicle itself. 35-inch tyre is the biggest tyre that you can get up in the OEM spare wheel placement. So just remember that one there. And while we are speaking about tonneau covers, you've also got your GME with the fold down bracket there as well. So GME XRS 370, believe there is a new version coming, but I'll have to bring that up next video. For now, GME obviously one of the best UHF brands out there. We've got a few different options that we can offer. Having the fold down bracket means that you can have that one up behind the window. If you did come up to something that is a little bit low, you can just knock it down a little bit, go through there, and you can play around with that one. do whatever you like. We can fold that one behind the cab as well if that suits you more. And I forgot to talk about the rear end here. We've got the color-coded flares, the wheel and tyre combination. We normally talk about this up the front end. The tyres are usually turned in the video, but we've got the 18x9 -12 offset method 305 in the double black. The double black methods look amazing. They've got the matte black face, the gloss black lip, and then you've got the satin black lip bolts in there as well. All of the tyres that we fit through the workshop, unless a customer doesn't want it, includes the Apex valves as well. So the little RPV valves from Apex there means that you can dump all of that air out of that tyre in a matter of seconds. If you're like me and you're quite lazy, you jump on the beach, you might get bogged pretty quickly. If you know your beaches, actually it did catch me out lately. It did catch me out recently on a trip actually, and I didn't air down, and it was a bit of a wild one, but the Apex valves there literally time how long it takes to get from your standard running pressures down to your desired pressures, whether that be 20 PSI for example to start on the beach. Time that one there, and next time you get out there, you literally just start your stopwatch on your phone, air down to 20, ready to hit the beach and continue driving. So those little valves there are bloody unreal. And at the back here as well, we've got a new little Kickback mud flap. The team have been busy getting a few new products rolling out. You'll see the little differences in the mud flaps, a few other bits and pieces as we keep rolling out new products this year as well. The other thing under the rear here, we've got the Fox adjustable shock absorbers. Like we said, this one runs a 3-inch BDS suspension kit. We'll talk about that one a little bit more up the front end. We've got the 2-inch block on top of the factory leaf springs in the rear end. And there is a fair bit of air in those airbags as well. This vehicle is in the final QC stage. So the team usually put about 30-40 PSI of air in those airbags, make sure there's no leaks, and then we can get those ones dialed in, make sure there's nothing leaking when the vehicle gets handed over to the customer. Remember those airbags in the rear end there, on top of good suspension, good wheels and tyres, the airbags are the last resort to a good ride or a good tow. You don't want to rely on those airbags too much, but when you've got the big van on the back, I don't know whether it's just the wheelbase on these big trucks and then the distance from the rear axle to the tow bar assembly, but a big Caravan actually do throw them around a little bit. You hear the term a lot with other Chevy owners called porpoising. That's the vehicle going up and down a little bit from the ball weight of the Caravan. The airbags up the rear end there. It will make a big difference on top of just the stock suspension, but when you add a good suspension kit like the BDS Fox shocks, and then you've got the wheels and tyres as well, which are going from a 20-inch wheel down to an 18-inch wheel. I forgot to say these are 35, 12.5, 18 Nitto Ridge Grappler tyres as well. So smaller wheel, slightly bigger tyre, gives you a little bit of small bump compliance as well, so you can air down those tyres a little bit. You don't feel all the little bumps, all the little potholes, the cat's eyes on the roads as well. So that's a rear end of a touring setup, ready for the Caravan on the back. Decent hitch on the rear there as well. And you've got all the electronics, the Anderson plugs, the airbag assist in the rear end, ready to go. And there's also a 210 litre fuel tank tucked in under there as well. So the rear end of the vehicle gets overrated a little bit. They are quite standard. It's not the fun part when compared to the front end with bull bars and lights and all the different setups. But getting the rear end of a setup dialed in the correct way is almost more important than what's going on up the front. You can really wreck the ride performance by putting leaf springs that are too heavy, not doing a leaf spring reset if we're adding a big canopy on the rear end of the vehicle. If the airbags are set wrong, if something's installed the wrong way as well, that rear end is where you're really going to feel it, especially if you're towing a big boat, a big Caravan or such on the rear end. The rear end of the vehicle, like we said, it is very, very important to get it right. One thing to get right as well is the rest of the vehicle, of course, but the electric side steps do make getting in and out a whole lot easier. If you haven't seen the AMP research, Real Truck is the supplier of these steps. They were branded AMP at one stage, but now Real Truck are going through a bit of a rebranding. One of the biggest suppliers for steps, the flares, tonneau covers, and a whole bunch of other accessories as well. Having a direct count and knowing the team well there as well, make sure that any new products, any support needed as well, we've got that direct line of contact, ready to get in touch with the team and answer any questions. The AMP research, electric steps though, one of my favorite. You can keep those steps down, open the door, close the door. The step will want to retract and then it won't. And then you simply open the door, close it again, and that one will fold up out of the way. You might have seen the little LED lights under there as well. They don't look that bright when we're in the workshop and the big lights are on, but these little lights at night time just light up enough that you're not going to step in a big puddle of mud before you get up into your nice American truck. So those ones there, definitely not a requirement for a touring setup, but definitely a nice to have compared to the factory steps. Having a 3-inch lift, 35-inch tyres, and those XL side steps are going to drop down a whole lot lower than what your factory side step is going to be sitting at on a standard height vehicle. The front end of this one here, the Cyprus Grey, I just love this colour. I don't think there's another manufacturer of a vehicle out there with something very similar to this. I was trying to pick it when it first came into the country. I couldn't really compare it to much. I've only seen one with the Saturn PPF that's still a build in progress at the moment, but I'm keen to see more of the Cyprus Greys coming through. Of course, we've got the colour-coded flares up the front end there, covering that Neg 12 Method 305. We've also got the Kickback mud flaps there as well. You can see down here how dirty these mud flaps are. It is quite wet at the moment. The team have been going out, doing some test drives in this one here for that final QC process. You can just see how much dirt and muck sits up on that mud flap rather than spraying up the rest of the vehicle. So great little Kickback mud flaps, do stop a lot of those stones and the other bits and pieces, but the 3-inch BDS suspension kit in the front end, the team go out there, they test it up, they flex it up, they hit some corrugations, they hit some bumps out on the road, and then we'll get it back into the workshop, do some final checks and make sure nothing's come loose. And just remember, any suspension kit that comes through the workshop, we advise you to come back for a 1,000-kilometre complimentary check, and we'll go over every single nut and bolt that's been touched on the vehicle, make sure there's nothing out of place as well. With the 3-inch BDS suspension kit, we do have to change the wheels and tyres. I get asked a fair bit on the first phone calls, can I keep my factory wheels and tyres? And the answer is no, it's that simple. The factory wheels and tyres that come on these Chevys will hit on the new BDS upper control arms. Although there is a few different upper control arms out there on the market, my suggestion, invest in some good wheels and tyres at the same time as doing the suspension kit. It's going to be a lot better than the factory tyres that come on the vehicle itself. You're going to get a better ride, you're going to get more kilometres, better wheel alignment there, and be able to air down on all the different road surfaces, especially if you're doing some beach work or some dirt work or whatnot off-road as well. One last little feature on this one here, having the touring spec done, I'll pop open the bonnet because it has been pre-staged if the customer wants to come back for future stages. Throw that one there, see if I can make a fool of myself and take ages to pop a bonnet like normal. Nah, got it today. We've got the mega fuse holder set up over here on the passenger side, and that one there has the power panel power feed. So one big power feed into the breaker, which then runs up over the firewall. That then goes over to the driver's side, and we've got the power panel set up that the team did a cracker job at designing. Obviously, for a stage 1 with minimal options like this one here, it's quite a simple setup. There's going to be a bunch of different spare fuses on here, especially the big MIDI fuses, but we've got the ignition tap fully fused. We've got labelled outlets there as well. So you've got grey Anderson plug, red Anderson plug. We've got the Grille lights in there, which we'll get into in just a second. The side step fuse in there, the Air IQ for those airbags as well. I did say I was going to get out the Air IQ remote, and I'll do that one just after this. But having a setup like this one here, we do things a little bit differently compared to if all the power was over on that left-hand side. For all of the different cables that go through the vehicle to the back, if you're getting under-seat battery setups, roof racks for example, we'd run all the cable on that left-hand side. Now that we've got the power panel set up, investing in this one for stage 1 means that it's going to be a much neater install for stage 2, and then we actually run most of the cable down from the driver's side. So investing in this one for stage 1 future-proofs that stage 2, 3 and 4 down the track as well. There's even a little spot here, and that's where a Switch Pro could go. There is a little light bar in the front grille. They're the laser lamp LED light bar kit. So we've got these 2 little laser lamps in behind the factory grille there on our own custom mounts. And these ones here are switched through a high beam trigger and then just a simple switch inside the dash. So a little switch just drilled inside the dash there, only for the one output. If you're going to add more outputs like a driving lights, fog lights, roof rack combination with different lights around that one as well, and maybe a Starlink up on top of a roof rack, that's when you would then step up to the Switch Pro unit. We'd mount that one onto the little spot that's ready to go here, and then we'd run all of those cables up to your roof rack and other accessories from the neat power panel. So doing that one, stage 1, definitely saves a bit of headache, a little bit of messy wiring for stage 2, 3 and 4 down the track as well, and the team know what they're working with, and you'll get a good end result. We've got the little Air IQ remote control that I said that I probably shouldn't play with it because it's in the final QC stage, but if I put it back on 20, the team will never know. And like every good video through this workshop, it's controlling the wrong vehicle. Every time. But anyway, we'll get this one out of the workshop, make sure that this remote pairs to your unit, and then it's ready to rumble. I always seem to make a fool of myself every single video. The cool feature with the Air IQ remote control, you've actually got more customization that you can do through the phone app. So you can go in and you can change the different settings on top. You can change that little car logo to a boat, a loaded vehicle, all sorts of different stuff there on the mobile app. On the remote app itself, you can split those airbags and pump them both up together with that little button. You can then deflate one side as well. So if you are parked on uneven ground, you've got the rear tailgate going, you can get a couple little inches out of the rear airbag control. Obviously, you're going to only be able to air it down low enough to be sitting on that leaf spring, so you can't go all the way down, all the way up. But it definitely helps, and it helps with unhitching as well. So if you pump up your airbags, drop your jockey wheel down, and then lower your airbags down, you're going to be able to get down, drive away, and then off you go. So pretty cool little remote setup there. And one thing that I do suggest to customers in the Chevy 2500, you got this nice little location here. We don't want to scratch up the nice gloss black, but pop a little bit of Velcro on there, pop it on there, and you're going to be able to see that one while you're driving. If not, throw it to the passenger and let them play around with it while you're driving to get the best end result. Inside the vehicle itself, that's pretty much it. We've just got the little UHF in here, tucked into the little center console, and that one is pretty much all that's needed. These trucks already come with your tow bar wiring, the 12-pin plug out the back. Now that we've added the Anderson plug, the Chevy 2500, if you haven't driven one, just remember, get down to your dealer, see what the 1500s are all about, see what the HD trucks are all about. So on top of downloading the buyer's kit, reading up a bunch of information, there's lots of FAQs that are already being answered in that kit. Get into a dealership, sit in a vehicle, go for a test drive. You're going to soon tell the difference between a 1500 and a HD truck. It's mind-blowing at how much better a HD truck will be for towing. But one thing with the HD trucks is they are a heavy vehicle, and our 4.5 ton changeover between a car license and a truck license is where it can start to get confusing. So this vehicle came into the workshop as an NB2 rated vehicle with a 5148 kilo GVM. Because we've engineered the suspension install, we've also done a GVM upgrade to 5,500 kilos. So plenty of payload on this one here. It hasn't got a lot put into it. So this one here has heaps of payload, but you do have to remember, payload includes people, it includes gear, fuel, accessories that are on the truck, gear in the rear, and then also tow ball weight as well. The GCM, which is the combined weight between the vehicle and the trailer, are just under 12.5 tons for this HD platform. So we don't have to really worry about that number here unless we're going up to a 5th wheel setup, and I'm sure they're to come in the next couple of years as well. Guys, if you like this video here, you want to see more Cyprus Grey, you might have ordered a Lakeshore Blue, the red, or all the normal colors being the white and the black and whatnot. But if you want to see more of these build video, guys, check these two out above to see if these things boogie up the beach. That video down there, and this one down here, who knows what the team are going to put there.